Hey there, fellow musicians and aspiring musicians. So, today on the Musicians Personal Development Podcast, I'm your host, CC Bass.
And this is Wil Cameron.
So, have you ever been on a performance and you're up there playing, everything seems to be going fine, but you notice that the audience is not paying attention to you? Yep. So, Wil, what experience have you had with that?
Oh man, that has happened a couple of times. I recently had an experience where we were playing there was a gig, and we're going through the set list, and the people were just kind of sitting there, and the guys had even reached out and said, "Hey, if you want to know, if you want us to play something different, let us know." And a couple of people yelled out a couple of songs, and they didn't know any of the songs, so everybody put their heads down. They kept playing, so didn't do a good job of connecting then. So I've seen that. But as far as us, as far as connecting with the audience, drummers and bass players have this like partnership. Even when we don't know each other, as rhythm section components, we tend to work together. So, and you probably don't remember this, but there was a meetup, the very first one I ever went to. You were there. I didn't know you. I didn't really know anybody. You and I ended up on stage at the same time. And to show how you connected, and I wasn't even in the audience. I was like up there. There's this Latin tune that somebody called, and you took off playing, and I was like looking, and it's like, well, who is this little person that's just playing like crazy? And before I knew it, we had both just taken off, and we had just really become animated, and the whole place was kind of like rocking, because we were like just playing, and the song just went on and on and on. And I'm sure you don't remember all of that, but so that's a negative connection and a positive connection that I've experienced. So
Yeah, well, that's funny that you bring that up about, connecting with each other, because it actually starts with that. If you're playing with other musicians, you want to be able to connect with them and also in turn connect with the audience. I specifically love this topic because it's something I've really worked on, and coming from the area of having social anxiety and struggling with that,
right.
and doing a lot to try to overcome that. I found that connecting with the other musicians and the audience is the key to take the musician and the show off to another level.
Yeah, I agree with that. And when you're really trying to be your best musician self, knowing your audience is very important. The way you get to know your audience is by observing them and listening, paying attention to what's going on around you, not just like mechanically just playing what you want to play. I think I told you about this once before, how I went to a concert. The guitarist was featured, and he literally spent the entire concert just kind of like looking down, playing toward his amp, like he didn't even care anybody was there. Now he was playing his butt off, just killing it. But he just didn't care. So,
Right.
He was famous. I paid to go see him, so I don't know that he cared about connecting with the audience. So,
Yeah, I think that's pretty relatable. I see it certainly a lot. And I'm not sure if musicians are necessarily aware of that, or they could be, and it could be as a result of something else. Maybe there's performance jitters or something where they're just looking down, or they're just kind of self-absorbed but not really realizing that. And so the intent here is that we want to step outside of ourselves and to interact musically with the other musicians. If you're playing with other musicians, you could be playing solo, but you want to make sure that you are interacting with the people that are around you, because remember, the audience is there to see you. All right, so let's what do we have for them today?
So we got a couple of things. We got some do's and don'ts. So let's start with the don'ts. The things that we should not do. Hang on, got a note here. The things we should not do. This is good. It kind of makes sense. You should not blame the audience for not paying attention to you. They don't owe you anything.
That's right. That is right.
They're there. but you don't really know why they're there. They may not have come to see you. They may just be there to escape some other situation, so you don't really know. The other one is, this is good, to not be over animated, and to panic if people are not paying attention to you. It goes back to what you talked about. So if the little formula, if in your head you're thinking, okay, I'm doing this, I'm going to play this, I'm going to do that, and then they're going to pay attention. So if your plan isn't coming together, it shouldn't cause you anxiety. It shouldn't stress you out. You shouldn't get nervous because of that. They're kind of related. They don't owe you anything. So
right.
The thing to do is to try, your performance should be as if it is the last time you're going to play your instrument. You shouldn't take it for granted. It's a gift to be able to play an instrument skillfully. And the joy that you get from it, if you can project that to other people, that's a huge gift. So each time we play, I can't speak for everybody, but every time I play, even if I'm tired, I consider this could be my last time doing that. So those are two good don'ts. But let's jump into the things that we should consider. So we got 4 of them. Normally we have 3. We got 4 of them. So check this out. So the first one is to take a video of your performance to check your stage presence and to see if you have energy and how you mix with everything. So what do you think about that?
I think that is absolutely true. That's a great indicator. You can look back and see what happened, why the audience wasn't paying attention, and are you getting the energy? Place yourself in the shoes of the audience, people that are looking back at you, and how would you feel about that performance?
Right.
That's telling in itself.
Yeah, and see, that's kind of linked to the next one, where you should face the audience. So how do you go about? I know you stand all the time, but how do you deal with facing the audience?
Well,
different setups and things like that. You don't know where you're going to be. So how would you explain to people how to do that?
Okay, well, here's a great probably way to look at it. First of all, if I'm speaking to you, just in a conversation, I want to be facing you. That's how you know that you have somebody's full attention. And there are actually studies about this where if your belly button is facing the person that you're talking to, then you're more likely to be fully engaged, and your toes are pointing to them. So even if you see 2 people that are facing each other, that have their belly buttons facing each other, it kind of indicates to the third person that there's something that's going on. They're having a private conversation. We don't want to get involved. But if you turn it outward, towards the audience, then you've engaged them. And there really are studies about this. So I always kind of keep that in mind. You don't want to be facing towards the drummer, or you don't want to be facing towards the back. Always keep be facing the audience. I that's what I always say, because just think if you're a speaker. I don't want to belabor this too much, but if you're doing a public speaking gig or something like that, and you're got your back turned towards the audience, how do you think the audience would feel?
Body language is everything. Everything, right? So I cannot believe you figured out a way to squeeze the term belly button into one of our podcasts.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Here's a good one. How about checking your physiology? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, actually, that's a good one too. And it actually kind of ties into the last one about facing the audience. But, Will, something you said that I do is I typically am standing up. When you find me playing, I'm standing up. Not saying that everybody else has to do it, but I like doing that, because what I'm doing is, if I'm hunched over like this and I'm playing, I'm probably more likely to connect with you if I'm up like this with my shoulders back and I'm confident. That breathes a sign of confidence, and that gets people's attention. It just creates like an energy and a vibe. You can tell when somebody's confident and when they're not.
Right. No, you're right. As a drummer, like with both of those, facing the audience and the physiology, it's no secret drums are very physical instruments. Sometimes carrying your drums and setting them up is more effort than the gig is, and it's harder. But sometimes you're on a riser, and drummers don't get to move around a lot. But still, we have ways of connecting with the audience. And you can look and you can have silent conversations with people, not in a creepy sort of way, but you can kind of see and observe people. I mean, and there have been like just about every gig. I look out and I can see it's usually some guy and he's just watching, and you can tell he's a drummer, or he was a drummer, or he wants to be a drummer, because they're watching. You can tell with that level of intensity. So you're connecting with them. And usually sometime during the evening, the person will come up and they'll say something, or they want to buy you a drink. Well, I don't drink, but they'll want to do that anyway. So
yeah. And, and so you also bring up a good point, because it's not that you have to stand up. There's a lot of people that sit down and play, and there's so many different, if you're a violin player, if you're playing in an orchestra, if the whole band is sitting down, maybe you want to blend in and sit with the rest of the musicians, because it might be appropriate. But just think about, your posture, what that energy is that you're giving off is most important. Is it a negative
excellent
energy?
point?
Yeah.
Excellent point. Because, and I'm glad you brought that up, because if you think about, the corporate gigs, so that's a whole different vibe, right? I mean, because they're paying you. They'll tell you, okay, we need you to dress business casual. We need you to do this. We need you to do that. And sometimes they'll tell you, they're not here to listen to you. You're just providing background music while they're having dinner. And then after dinner, we want you to play this type of music, and then they dance. But the point is, it's like, you can't just do the same thing all the time. Sometimes you have to come out of your comfort zone, and you have to pay attention to the audience and follow instructions and work with your fellow musicians. That the energy of the other musicians is so beneficial. So, and that kind of leads into the last topic.
Yeah. So the last one, for the love of God, smile. There is nothing wrong with smile. You want to, Will, you talked about not being over animated. I mean, you want to be genuine and natural, but everybody smiles. It's a great idea to smile, especially if you're nervous, smile, because that can help calm your nerves a bit, but also engaging with the other members of the band and with the audience.
Right.
I love to smile. Look over at the drummer. I give him a smile.
Right.
Hey,
right. And that on stage communication, people pick that up. I'm telling you. So here's the deal though. So most of the cats I play with are dudes, and some bands for some types of music, the vibe is totally different, and they want to be cool. They want to be, it's that type of music. They don't want to appear too happy or whatever. It's almost like they want to be like depressed musicians or something. And, you're not really connecting with the audience. And as I mentioned before, having the ability to play music proficiently is a gift. And we're trying to share that. But if you're sitting around like frowning and trying to be all cool and stuff, you're not connecting. And in my opinion, if you skillfully play your instrument, people are going to think that's really cool, and that's going to be a very memorable experience to them, as opposed to nobody's going to say, yeah, the accordion player, man, he was so cool. He just sat there and he didn't smile all night. I mean, nobody's going to remember that. But if the accordion player just lights the place up and is hopping around and they're going to say, man, that guy on the accordion was killing. Even if he wasn't playing a whole lot, if he was like doing it and enjoying it and smiling, he's going to have the whole place in an uproar. And I know you've seen that before, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's not about all the musical skills that you have, even though that can be a part of it. But going to another level, think about if you had that energy and that good vibe, and you're connecting with people. Oh my
Absolutely.
God, that is awesome.
Absolutely. So
right.
Okay, well, so to wrap up, we got the four things that we want you to consider. Are number one is take a video so you can kind of check your stage presence, see how you sound. Number two, face the audience. Number three, check your physiology. Number four, smile.
That's
So,
right. That's right. I say, for the love of God, smile. Yeah. Okay. So, anyway, that's our show for today. We are going to wrap it up, and stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to have something good. Maybe we'll shake it up again and give you four tips instead of the 3. But anyway, okay. So I'm CC Bass.
And this is Wil Cameron.
And we are 2 seasoned musicians here to bring you the best tips. And we are out of here. Play
Outta
our
here.
outgoing music.
Very good.